Hello, D&Ders, RPGers, Game Masters, and the like. I am still talking about the Omnibus, White Box Omnibus by James Spahn. I'm going to do the next section right here, is the Bestiary, right? So this is what James has found and put into this thing. I won't spend a whole lot of time on this other than the fact that these are traditional monsters found in other things, and it tries to just make them very compatible with White Box. So some of this is like angels. I'm sure from Advanced D&D. I've seen them on out, right? So these are now put in here, and he does the traditional, like say, in the Swords of Wizardry, you have the descending armor class, and then you also have the ascending armor class, which is in the brackets. Makes it quite easy. Hit dice, for all practical reasons, you can either do roll 3d6, get your number, or you can just take that number, multiply it by 3, and get a number, which is going to be the average, more or less, hit points for these things. That's kind of a shortcut way of doing these things. It also gives you the attacks it would do, and it talks about its special ability if it has anything, and its movement, depending on how you play your game, how much these things have an influence on what's going on. And we can take a look at several of the monsters you can have. Of course, they're alphabetical order. Here's a cherub. Here's a seraph. As you can see, these things, that's a much bigger, powerful character. All right, so this is going to go from 3 hit dice to 9 hit dice. And obviously, he's got a huge flaming sword. Nice, right? Animated weapon, giant bee. There's no real pictures in this section. I think by this time, the idea is that these things probably have already been seen. He just took them and kind of put it in a way you can use it in White Box, just kind of let you know. So you won't see any pictures like what a demon imp is or a succubus, because I think those are pretty much out there. In fact, I use my own version of showing any kind of image I want based on my webpage, which has all these different images from Advanced D&D I got from the Monster Manual. Of course, they got furblocks in here, which is nice, right? And it gives whatever magic you want to give it to here. Now, if you compare something like this to something found in 5e, they're quite different. And I think it's sort of interesting. How would you say they're very much toned down in White Box. White Box, like I said, it's a game of you have lower hit points and you have, I guess, quicker deaths in that regard. But if you grabbed anything from 5e and dropped in here, it would just tank anything. So those things are taken into consideration. Once again, whenever I do a 1d6 minus 1, I say it's a minimum of 1 hit point for anything that goes on. It has golems and then a kraken, which would be a 15 hit dice monster. And remember, we're always using a 6-sided die for anything that has to do with either hit dice, which is 9 times 6, or attacks are always some multiple of 6, which is a 6-sided dice, right? So once again, you can take a look at all these things. A mimic, obviously they don't show you one. Night steed, nymph. This is pretty straightforward. How would you say? Probably there's something to do with copywriting and other things. I didn't want to pay for the artwork. So this is interesting. This is an orbitus, highly intelligent floating sphere with a massive eye set in the center and many stalks protruding from each end with an eye. What does that sound like? Well, it sounds like something copyrighted by Wizards of the Coast that they won't let them use, so he called it an orbitus. So it's in there. You just can't call it that other thing because you don't want to get in trouble, right? Which is sort of fun. And it gives you all these things that are found with that other thing that we don't want to say, right? Is displacer, phase cat, and it's cool because he does have these in here for you to use, and without having to do a conversion yourself, you could just use these things. Obviously, generic things like poltergeist, right? And you can imagine that that's not really copyrighted. You can use that. Rotworms, or I guess what we say is rock rubs, you know what I'm saying? Rust monster, that's kind of cool. That the same thing, same description that you would see. And obviously, these are things to put into your game to make it a little better. It's nice to have it because instead of having to do the conversion on the fly, which you can easily do in Advanced D&D, especially with the Monster Manual, all you do is just change hit dice to 1d6 instead of 1d8, and the damage you'd have to change and just make sure it doesn't destroy your whole group in one society, unless that's how you want to play it, make them scared. They have flaming skeletons, which is kind of cool, right? Sturge, which I guess is fine. No one needs that one. And you have the water weirds, right? So this pretty much covers the entire bestiary. You could use this. It's very compatible with obviously White Box, fantastic medieval adventure game. It'll fit right in. So without any ado, I hope you guys have a wonderful day and keep gaming.